Well, we got a little fire going here in an undisclosed location, unknown state at least. Should keep away the mosquitoes for a little bit, hopefully. This is what happens when you take a zero or a Nero day. Not in town, in the woods, and then it rains. Woo! It's a coming down. Hopefully it lets up before I go to bed. Sitting here watching stuff on my phone. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be wet tomorrow though. That's for sure. Walking out of Cornwall over the Cornwall Bridge. Stopped earlier around I think 2 because it was well, we thought it was about to start pouring. And got some food, importantly some coffee. We're on the road again. These climbs in Connecticut are real tough. Someone, or a Sobo hiker, told me that, well, the joke is that all the trail clubs here in Connecticut try to one-up each other and put the highest point in their region of the trail along the trail, and so this creates just never-ending up down, which quite truthfully feels worse than New York. But I guess it's good training for the whites. Some points here, I'd like to say it's harder than Whitney. But maybe I'm just crazy and sleep deprived and hungry. Found a raspberry bush here. As they burst open, you get these tart raspberries. Look at that. Oh, they're so bright red. I hope these are raspberries. Man. Making my way alongside a cornfield, a little bit of road walk this morning. Already got about 7 in. Walking through the Housatonic River Valley. Still about 9 miles to Salisbury, which is where my package is. But we're moving and it feels good. Should hit 18 today, and we'll hit 100 miles for the total trip tomorrow, which feels good. Also, since I'm entering the end of week 1, I guess today's my 7th day, we'll be bumping the mileage up a little bit, but been keeping it between 10 and 15 miles roughly. Now I think we're going to bump it to 15 to 20. So we'll see, keep it there for probably a week and a half or 2. and then shoot for 25s the rest of the way through. Been running a little bit as well. The trail is nice, and I have a lot of energy. Feels like my legs are back. I don't know. More to come. Crossing the Housatonic here. It's now spelled with an H, kind of like Housatonic, but it's an old Indian name. I guess phonetically spelled with an OU or Housatonic for Housatonic. You can see a power plant behind me. And then here in front, I think at the junction of maybe the Housatonic and some other tributaries, it's pretty rapid out there. Been a nice jaunt this morning. I think we're about maybe 7 or 8 miles in. Closing in on the 10-mile mark. We have 16 total today into town, and then another maybe 2 to a shelter, so I think 18 total for the day. Should be some more with walking around town. First big day, probably total of over 20. The raging Housatonic River coming over a dam here. Not sure where the hydroelectric component is, but it's somewhere near here, and my gosh, are they harnessing a lot of power right now. Celebrating what should be about the midpoint of the day. Well, it's actually plenty past the midpoint, with some Welch's Juicefuls overlooking Prospect, or I guess this is Prospect Mountain, looking out into Connecticut. It's the high point for today, and I've got 3 miles maybe into town, where I pick up some real food. First package is coming in. In Texas, we might call this a toll road. $25 fine. That's all. Sign's got to be pretty old. Skirka beans, yes. Best meal ever. Pesto. Looks good. The best part, we got some meat. Almost made it all the way through Connecticut. Started down here maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and now we're all the way up here. At the top, got, what is that, less than 5 miles left. Walked out into a field featuring these smoky hills. I can imagine being one of the first people in the New World walking these lands. This field was most likely cleared by hand. And now offers these fantastic views. There are no directions right now, but there is a good cloud cover here, and I'm hoping it blows off to reveal the sun, which should allow me to dry everything out this afternoon. Descending the east face of Bear Mountain in Connecticut. It's the highest point, either in Connecticut or on the 18 Connecticut, at about 2,300 feet. Nice walk up this morning. Wasn't quite as steep as I was expecting. Pretty windy and mainly foggy on the top. I'll be passing the Connecticut-Massachusetts state line here the next couple miles, and then we're pushing on into Great Barrington today. A couple of us gonna try to get a hotel room and rest up, eat well, and get on to Massachusetts. Not sure how many miles there are there, but I think it should be a quick state as well, maybe 50 or 100 in total. Also passing 100 miles today so far. This is my 8th day, I guess you could say. And yeah, keeping a good pace, trying to keep it below 20 till end of probably, well, a week from now. Still pushing big miles though. Trying to stay healthy. Walking through the Sages Ravine right now. These waterfalls dump out into big pools, then continue down the ravine. I just tried for 30 very long minutes to get across this river over there without getting my feet wet. I built a bridge, didn't work. Tried to rock hop too mossy. The damn river is the marker to Massachusetts. I'm done with wet feet. Really, really done. But I'm also done with Connecticut now, so on to bigger mountains, hills. They're called hills here. They're not mountains. I don't get that distinction.